Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Last night, Chris Fedor, who covers the Cavs for cleveland.com and the Plain Dealer, was on the show. I don't know if it's all because draft is taking place in November, or because the Cavs don't look like they'll be any good, or Kevin Porter Jr. got himself into more trouble before the draft even began. And now that LeBron James isn't here, nobody really cares. Actually, it's probably a combination of all of those things, but the biggest thing to remember is this will be the longest season ever for the Cavs and their fans. We've got D-Man Dennis Manoloff here. More Sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it's a Monday night. No, it isn't. It's a Wednesday night. Just seems like a Monday night, brand new week. Anyway, we're here for the next hour. We're going to talk sports, Cleveland sports, that is, and the D-Man Dennis Manoloff is with us. D-Man, my opening sentence, I messed it up. I made this a Monday night already.
Crazy.
It is. Well, I'm thrown off by the November NBA draft, I think.
Yeah, I think it's the latest ever. Something like 146 days after it was supposed to be, but we're here. NBA Draft Night 2020.
And you're here bedecked in the Christmas colors, and the Christmas tree looks great.
Yeah, the lovely Denise, my wife, she's responsible for the decorations as we move back into the house after a number of weeks at the studio.
Yeah. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine@gmail.com. You see the address and the phone number at the bottom of your screen. D-Man, the Browns got some interesting news today. They had 3 guys put on the COVID-19 list. Jack Conklin, Charlie Hewlett, the long snapper, and Cody Parkey, the kicker, all land on the COVID reserve. And Myles Garrett stayed home with an undisclosed illness. What's going on out in Berea?
Well, I don't think it's just Berea, Les. I think the NFL is experiencing what the country's experiencing by and large, which is, a surge or an uptick in cases that's significant, in positive cases. So this is going to be the first real test for the NFL. How they're going to deal with this, because you know what, the other sports are like, hey, we already dealt with this and it was hard enough. Now let's see what you guys do with it. And my feeling is the NFL has made a determination that they're going to plow through no matter what. They're going to do everything they can to play. Too much money's at stake. And, I would think the only thing that would shut the NFL down is if an entire franchise got infected.
Yeah. We keep thinking in terms of getting the league started, which we did which we got done with baseball and football and basketball. We just assume once you start, you're going to finish, and that may not be the case. They got all kinds of contingency plans in there.
Yeah, I mean, they had to have thought of this before. I'll say this: the NFL may well have learned a bit from MLB specifically and Commissioner Rob Manfred, because remember, the NBA, when they restarted, and the NHL, when they restarted, really didn't have much of an issue when it came to COVID, because they went with the, in the NBA's case, the bubble, and in the NHL's case, the 2 hub cities in Canada. But MLB was playing, a 60-game schedule with home games and road games, and everybody was traveling, admittedly, within their divisions as opposed to hopscotch in the country. But they had 30 venues open for business, and they did have to deal with an outbreak on 2 of their teams, the Marlins and the Cardinals. So maybe the NFL is figuring out from Rob Manfred that you just go ahead. I mean, you can't quit. You can't put a pause on your sport, or you might as well not start up again.
All right, with Conklin on the list, and he, of course, a big portion of the offensive line, and Hewlett is the snapper, the long snapper, and of course Cody Parkey is the kicker, place kicker, and Garrett stays home with an undisclosed illness. Are you concerned about this, or you just wait and see what happens on Sunday? Are you any more concerned about these names than you might have been on any other given Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, Les. I mean, to me, it's just it's part of doing business in November of 2020. It's part of life. You know, you're dealing with COVID-19 situation that's gotten worse over the past few weeks, and you know, as having people sounding alarms all over the place regarding what's going to happen in the holiday season. So, no matter what business you are, I would think you're affected. In the case of the NFL, you're going to have positive cases. The question is, how do you deal with them? And so to answer your question, I mean, you had two questions. I guess I would say I am a little concerned, of course, but I'm also uh, expecting the Browns and the NFL to deal with it. And if you have to plug and play guys or replace guys, then you have to replace guys.
All right, so you go back to the Browns here, and they, of course, had a nice win the other day and put themselves into what could be good playoff position, because you've got, other than Baltimore and Pittsburgh later on, you got teams you should be able to beat leading up to that. And if they do, you know, I think 10 is the magic number, which is a high number for a draft for the playoffs. But I think that's what it is right now because so many teams in the AFC are playing so well.
I agree with you, Les. I think 10 is the number. I would find it hard to believe that if you won 11, you wouldn't be in. But 10, you know, for sure, to me, is a number you should shoot for. Well, I shouldn't say you should shoot for. The Browns should be shooting to go, 13-3? I mean, that's the honest thing. You should try to win every single game. But realistically, 10 wins sounds like it could get it done. Now, having said that, at this moment, the 6-3 Browns are outside of the top 7 in the AFC. So they're gonna have to keep winning, and they're gonna need a little bit of help. I mean, a team like the Dolphins is gonna have to hit a couple of rough patches here. I mean, they're 3-0 since Tua took over as a starter. You need the Las Vegas Raiders to slip a little bit because they've got a head-to-head victory over you if you're the Browns. I think, Les, I've said this on your show in the past. I think the game that the Browns are going to cherish when this season is over is that victory over the Indianapolis Colts in Cleveland, because something tells me that the Browns are going to get into a wild card spot by virtue of that victory over the Colts.
Yeah, the one that I'm concerned with, if you want to blame a game on it, the Las Vegas one really hurt for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, it did. I mean, because that's going to wind up being a team you're going to be competing against because the Chiefs are going to win the AFC West. I'll also say this: the AFC South. If you're the Browns, you want to see the Tennessee Titans get back to leading that division, unless, of course, you go ahead and beat the Titans. But you've got the win over the Colts. You don't want to see the Colts win the division. You want to see them be a wild card team so you can lock
then you
them
have
out
that edge. Yeah.
With a head-to-head victory.
All right, Dennis Manoloff with us. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Email us during the show, reallesLevine@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook and respond to our questions of the day. We post them in the morning. You can answer them all day long, and then we'll read them at night during the show, which is seen from 6 until 7 live. That's 6 till 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can archive it all day and all night. And we, of course, more sports and Les Levine, powered by cleveland.com. We'll be back in a moment.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions, or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Maurice, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
Tri-C is here for you. Now more than ever, you need a post-secondary education. So I encourage you to start your journey here at Tri-C. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs, and we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, Tri-C is where futures begin.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Looking forward to this week. I think it's a really good football team coming to our building. They're first in the NFC East. We know the challenge they present on offense as they get healthy. They have a bunch of guys coming back off of injuries. I should start with, it's a really well-coached group in total. Doug Peterson does a great job with that group, on offense as with the team, Super Bowl winning coach. On defense, I think it's a really good unit. They really come after you with that front four. Jim Schwartz, again, outstanding. And then special teams, I think it might be the fastest group we play all year. And again, Coach Fitt does a great job with those guys. So it's a really sound scheme on all three sides for the Eagles. So we have to have our work cut out for us, and we really need a great week of preparation.
Yeah, it seems like Carson Wentz is struggling this season. A lot of interceptions, and those guys are coming off a little bit of a rough game. Can you just, what are you seeing on film from Carson, and what does he bring?
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for Carson Wentz. I think he's an outstanding football player. They're getting healthy now, which I think plays into the entire offense's ability to be efficient and score points. But he's someone, I've seen it with my own eyes. That kid can make every play with his feet, with his arms. So he definitely has our attention.
So with maybe Zach coming back and Miles Sanders coming back last week, do you feel like maybe people underestimate what it's like to be without some of your top guys like that?
They might. I think, the way we look at it is they're definitely getting healthy on offense. They have skilled players really at each position that can hurt you. They have big playability. They have the ability to run it and pass it, like we were talking about earlier, with some of the big runs that they've had. So it's a really good offense coming into our building.
Hey, D-Man, I'm still waiting for the day we go listen in on one of these press conferences, and the coach comes out and says, we're playing this team this week, and they're not very well coached, and their quarterback really, he's not struggling, he's just terrible.
Every week, Les, every week. If you expect anything other than what you just heard from Kevin Stefanski about an opponent, then you haven't been paying attention.
Right.
After he said what he said, I would have loved him. And by the way, I love Kevin Stefanski. I have no issues with him saying any of this, but I would have loved a member of the media to say, Kevin, what is the Eagles' record again? Oh, that's right. It's 3-5-1.
Yeah, but they're well coached.
What's that?
But they're well coached.
Stefanski checks off all the boxes, the Lou Holtz boxes. The
What do you
defense
think
is
he's been
great.
doing all these years preparing to be a head coach? What do you think? He's
Yeah,
got,
the
you know,
defense is great. The offense is great. The special
right.
teams are great. The coaches are great.
You
And
know
yet
how,
you're 5-1.
yeah, you know how the coaches, when they get named, they get their job, or the GMs do, they always say in their hip pocket they've got a list of coaches they want to talk to and all that stuff, and every coach has the same speech. They got that speech in the hip pocket.
Yeah,
I love it.
Unless here's the other thing though, the one omission that I did not hear this from Kevin Stefanski. I'm surprised he didn't say, you know what? The Eagles are a first place team for a reason.
Yeah,
Because
they're in
they
the right
do
division.
actually lead the NFC East at
Right.
3-5-1.
They're not well coached. That's why their record is what it is. But on the other hand, they're qualifying for the playoffs. So what can I say? 216-575-0403. All right, who's got the easiest schedule? The Browns still have Baltimore and Pittsburgh they have to play, but the rest of it looks pretty beatable. The opponent's winning percentage for the Raiders, 444. The Browns are at 445. Ravens, 461. Dolphins at 477. Titans at 508. And the Colts at 524. And every week that they play the games, those numbers will change because teams play each other within the same division. They play head-to-head and all that. But you look at who the Browns have, and there's certainly some winnable games there.
Well, and the winning, the opposing winning percentage is obviously inflated, or shall we say deflated, by the fact that the Browns still have the one-win Jaguars and the winless Jets left. So that's where predominantly where your terrible record is coming in. But they're 6-3, and they should expect to win the Eagles game, the Jaguars game, the Giants game, and the Jets game. That gets you to your magic number of 10 wins. And that's not even accounting for a potential upset of any other opponent. So
and also
like
what you don't want to overlook is by the time they play Pittsburgh may decide to rest some people, even if they're going for a perfect season or whatever. But if they feel they have home field advantage no matter what, you may see somebody other than Ben Roethlisberger quarterbacking against the Browns.
Good point.
216-575-0403. So do these numbers mean anything, these percentages, or do you just have to push them aside and say, hey, it doesn't matter what they've done up to this point. The season starts today.
Yeah, honestly, I know, like we just showed the graphic as far as the winning percentages or losing percentages, as the case it may be. But all I care about if I'm the Browns is the opponent that's next up, okay? In other words, I'm not saying, well, I'm going to face the Eagles as part of an easy schedule the rest of the season. All I'm doing is saying I'm facing a Philadelphia Eagles team that is nothing like it was when it won the Super Bowl only a few years ago. They're not to be feared. We've got them in our place. Let's go beat them.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds simple, but that's basically what it is. And it's interesting because Stefanski's going through this for the first time. He may have been well prepared for it, and you're seeing it in some cases. And by the way, everybody made a big deal about what Nick Chubb did, and that was great, and he cemented the victory by stepping out of bounds. But that's a play they should be drilled in. And I keep hearing, wow, that Stefanski, what a great teaching method and all that, and Chubb's so smart to do that. They should know that. That's what they do all day. That's what analytics are. That was a nice play, but they did exactly what they were supposed to do. So it's no more special than any other play should have been.
I hear you, Les, but I also think there are some running backs or wide receivers, whoever would have had the ball in their hand at that point, running down the sideline, who probably would have gone in for the touchdown. So in one sense, I do give Nick Chubb credit for being selfless and being team-oriented. But to your overarching point, that's the kind of stuff that should be drilled into players' heads.
I never cease to be amazed when a team maybe scores a surprising touchdown, or they had a nice drive down the field to take the lead, and then they score, and then as the players are coming back off the field, coaches are going 1 point or 2 point. That stuff should be, when they've got the ball at their own 40-yard line and the drive is beginning, somebody like the quarterback should be saying, all right, guys, we're going to put this in the end zone, and we're going to stay on the field and we're going to pound in another 2-pointer, as opposed to being surprised by the coach all of a sudden coming up with a decision to go for 1 or 2. That's stuff. That's what they work on all day, and if they don't, they should be.
Fair enough. Yeah, I hear you.
Fair enough.
We need Les as the quality control coach.
Well, come on. They get the ball, they're moving down, they cross the 50. Somebody's got to say, "Hey, coach, don't forget when we score this touchdown, we're going for 2." Let me check my chart here. Yeah. Whoever invented the chart it should be burned. In fact, I'm ready to call for, since the Browns Parkey may not be available to them, I think that they ought to just disband the kicking game. No punts. You got to go for it. You're at your own 10-yard line. You got to go. It's 4th and 26. You got to go for it. It'll change the game dramatically.
Any idea where Phil Dawson is, Les?
We talked about this last night the other Monday night with Bud Shaw. Dawson is the last kicker to try the free kick after the play was called, where the receiver of the punt makes a fair catch and you have a free kick if you want it. Dawson tried it, missed 71-yarder, just missed it. Last one to try it. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. I don't know if we get a chance to talk about Ohio State, but I want to throw this in. You got Indiana coming to Columbus. They're 3-0 and they're playing great against some bad teams. Ohio State is still a 21-point favorite in this game. You're making a big deal of how scary that Indiana is. They're a 21-point underdog to Ohio State. And they're making it seem like it's a winnable game for them.
Yeah, but Les, you know what? If I'm the Buckeyes, though, I do take Indiana very seriously, and Ryan Day will, because they've looked good. I mean, there's no denying it. What I think is incredible, though, Les, beyond the fact that Ohio State is dominant, I mean, you expected that, but the unexpected, Indiana, Northwestern looks really good. What about the opposite side? Two of the most storied franchises in the history of college football, Michigan and Penn State, are an abject disaster.
It's unbelievable.
Especially, the team up north, TTUN. And by the way, I have no problems at all. I have no tears shed for that. But my goodness, is Michigan horrible.
Yeah, people say they got to get rid of Harbaugh. No, keep him here.
Lifetime contract.
We had John Cooper for a long time against them. Bring him on. I know, but I don't understand how they can keep him.
Now Harbaugh's getting dump trucked in his own building. I know Wisconsin's really good, but my goodness, when you get beat, was it 49-11 in your own house? This is just, it's ugly for the Maize and Blue. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations plus the website. Check them out, northeastfactorydirect.com. We are powered by cleveland.com. Dennis Manoloff is with us. More sports and less Levine continues in a moment.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
It may not have been the splashiest move the Browns made in the offseason, but it is probably the best. Hiring Bill Callahan to be in charge of the Browns' rebuilt offensive line. Callahan is considered one of the best O-line coaches in the game and does have head coaching experience. In 2002, he was the head coach of the Raiders as they went to the Super Bowl. They did lose that game to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He also had a short stint as a head coach at the University of Nebraska, but Callahan didn't win enough to stay there very long. It was back to the NFL. He was hired as an assistant head coach in charge of the O-line by the Jets. His Jets team quickly developed into the best rushing team in the NFL, and he developed 3 Pro Bowl offensive linemen with the Jets. In 2012, the Cowboys hired Callahan as their offensive line coach. He again helped develop 3 offensive linemen into Pro Bowl players for the Cowboys. Callahan moved on to Washington as the offensive line coach and was elevated to assistant head coach, still in charge of the offensive line after a couple of years. Again, he developed multiple offensive linemen into Pro Bowlers in Washington. Last year, when Jay Gruden was let go by the Washington football team, Bill Callahan was named interim head coach. He joined Kevin Stefanski's staff with the Browns, and it looks like he's well on his way to developing a few more Pro Bowlers for that Browns O-line.
D-Man, I don't think there's any doubt that Callahan is a big reason the Browns have had some of the successes they've had. But I found it interesting that they named him quickly when Stefanski took over. They named him quickly, even though Callahan probably could have gone to any one of, 6, 8 teams that had openings at that time. And he made the decision to join early on.
Move by the Browns and Stefanski to add Callahan. And it's not just the O-line with Bill Callahan. It's his input on the offense itself, on plays that are run based on his blocking schemes. And Kevin Stefanski has said that it's not just a Stefanski offense or a Van Pelt offense. Bill Callahan has his hands on the Browns offense as well.
Yeah, no question.
And Les, let me jump in. I got to say something, okay? The Bake Show. All right, I like Baker Mayfield. I want to see him succeed with the Cleveland Browns. You have too much invested in him to have him flop, okay? What I don't understand is why certain people have been dogging Baker Mayfield about his last 2 games, all right? They lose to the Raiders, and Baker throws for 122 in terrible weather. And then they beat the Texans, and he throws for, 132, I think it was, in terrible weather. You cannot expect any quarterback to put up big numbers with that kind of win. Think about the 2 quarterbacks that Baker went up against the last 2 games. Derek Carr only threw for 112, and Deshaun Watson threw for 163. And so it's just, I'm not making excuses for Baker, but I am making excuses. When you have to play in that kind of weather, you can't be expected to throw the ball for any kind of, big numbers.
And the other thing is that there's only one number, as far as I'm concerned, that counts, especially when you get to this point of the year, and that's wins. And
that's right.
People say, well, Cleveland should be used to weather. Why should they be used to bad weather? They come up here, they play, they may hit bad weather once or twice a year, and that's it. Why are they any more prepared than the visiting team coming in? And that
right,
wasn't just
Leslie,
bad weather. That was torrential storms.
right. And, well, certainly the Vegas game, the weather seemed to be worse, but both games, the wind was howling. And here's the thing: you and I have lived in this climate all our lives, but imagine, playing football and saying, "Wow, I'm used to windy conditions," and then go out and try to throw a football in them. It doesn't matter whether you're used to them or not. The ball is still going to do all kinds of crazy things when the wind gets a hold of it. So
That's when you get deflections. That's when you get all kinds of wild things happening.
yeah, and here's the deal. I get there is some nervousness about Baker Mayfield. In other words, when you evaluate him, is he definitely a franchise quarterback? This year has been so odd because he hasn't been asked to throw for many yards in very many games. And when he has been asked to carry a team, it hasn't gone well, meaning at Baltimore and at Pittsburgh, because against the Raiders offense won that game, not the Raiders defense. The Raiders offense kept the ball for 38 minutes. So Mayfield has not had to throw for gaudy numbers, so you haven't really seen a dynamic quarterback play. But I still like a lot of what Baker Mayfield brings to the table, and I'm looking forward to what he has in store the remainder of the season.
I had a conversation with a fan who said that he still hasn't shown me the ability to win game, to pull out a game by himself and be the guy who makes it happen. And I'm not sure how many times in a year you have to do that. Maybe once, maybe twice, but I don't think you've got to do it. You've got to do it week in and week out. Sometimes you just have to play along with be a good playmate with the kids at recess, and make sure that you take care of the football. You don't turn it over, and he hasn't turned it over in those bad weather days. The turnovers haven't been a factor, and I just think he's been what the doctor ordered. I know there are better quarterbacks out there. There are some who do it more flashy, or you can expect them to pull out a win when they have the opportunity. But Baker Mayfield right now is the kind of guy, just let him play, let him win you a playoff spot, and then argue about him when the season's over.
Yeah, and I'll submit, and I know it's the Bengals, but he absolutely had to win that game against Cincinnati with a terrific performance, and he did. And he's capable of it. We saw it in 2018. So I still believe in Baker. I just want to, like you said, all we care about really is wins.
Yeah, at this point, the numbers don't mean a thing. Numbers don't mean a thing.
At this stage of the season, Les, all you do is worry about whether it's a W. I mean, you can't. The style points don't matter.
Yeah, there's only one number to be concerned about at this point, and that's 10, and that's the number you got to secure yourself a playoff spot. You got to win 10 games. So we'll see if that happens. It's going to be interesting. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. The thing about Callahan, Dennis, is that he takes the job early on, and he's a veteran guy around the NFL and all kinds of football, and he's still knowing what's happened here in Cleveland with coaches and ownership and changes and all that stuff. I'm surprised. I started wondering if he's going to take the job, he must know something we don't know. And what he knew was he's got enough talent on this team that he can put a mark on it and make it better.
Yes, and it certainly helped that the Browns drafted a tackle the caliber of Jedrick Wills Jr. And of course, Callahan knew that he had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt at his disposal as running backs. So, there were pieces in place.
You haven't heard anything about Wilts and that he's been a problem. He's done a solid job. Turned out to be a good draft choice.
Who's that, Les?
The lineman from Alabama,
Wills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
he got hurt. He got hurt early on, but since then he's been terrific.
Yeah, he's made a few mistakes here and there, but what rookie hasn't? Overall, though, I think they're thrilled with Jedrick Wills Jr.
Right. Right now, Smiley One making it easy to invest in a new heating or cooling comfort system without breaking your budget. For a limited time, take advantage of this special financing, 36 months on select Bryant high-efficiency equipment. They make it easy for your family to stay comfortable all year long. Call Smiley One. You see the number right there for more information. We'll come back in a moment. Dennis Manoloff is with us. We're more than halfway through. More Sports and Les Levine is powered by cleveland.com.
We're living in uncertain times, but you don't have to put your future on hold. At Tri-C, you can move ahead while staying safe and saving money. The majority of fall classes will take place online, but we've added a variety of formats to meet your learning needs. And we've taken many steps to keep you safe on campus. Whether you're ready to get started or your four-year plans have changed, check out Tri-C's programs and resources, because Tri-C is where futures begin.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Brown's Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get texts sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week. And it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
Hi, welcome back to More Sports and Les Levine. Les, Dennis, we spent a lot of time talking about the Browns' safeties and their struggles at that position. But one thing we have not talked about much is at cornerback, their absence of Greedy Williams. He has not played all year, and we're not sure when the Browns could possibly get him back. Terrence Mitchell hasn't done a bad job filling in for his role, but the Browns have an opportunity to add someone who was just recently cut by the Jets. Pierre Desir actually spent his first 2 years with the Browns, but he had his biggest success in his 3 years with Colts from 2017 to 2019. He signed a one-year contract with the Jets, and it didn't really pan out too well. He had a little bit more of a struggle with his coverage, but that could be a product of playing with the Jets. With the Jets this year, he actually led the team with 3 interceptions, and he's got 8 career interceptions, which all have come since 2017 and joining the Colts. So my question to you guys is this. Is this someone the Browns could possibly consider adding a cornerback either as a starter or a backup to Terrence Mitchell?
Go
ahead.
Brian and Les, I would at least bring him in and see what he looks like in front of my guys, because who knows what is happening in the Meadowlands at MetLife with the Jets. That organization is so dysfunctional, and you obviously had Greg Williams sign off on kicking into the curb. Who knows where Greg Williams' head is? Adam Gase is completely over his skis when it comes to trying to figure out how to be a head coach. So I would at least look at him, bring him in for a workout, and see with my own eyes whether he can play.
I don't know that I want to bring anybody in at this point of the season. I think I did prior to the trade deadline a couple of weeks ago, and maybe get somebody who could really dig in and make a difference. If you're talking about, at this point in Desir, you're talking about a fringe player, and I'm not sure that a fringe player is what is called for here over the next couple of weeks.
That's true, and you'd be bringing him in predominantly for depth because there's no way he loses his job or loses his isn't not just his job, but he loses his spot on the Jets team if there weren't issues. So yeah, if you do sign him, it's for depth purposes only.
Yeah. So what would you do? Would you look for somebody more high profile? Would you look for somebody maybe with more depth but better than Desir? What would you do right now?
Les, I mean, I would look at anything and everything to try to improve my defense, but honestly, I don't know that type of player is available because he wouldn't be available if he were any good. You know what I mean?
No, the one that might be available is a team that's ready to throw it all in at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know what they think as far as what the Browns see in terms of guys that are going to come back from injury, but you can't expect a bountiful group of players just hanging around as of week 10 trying to get a job.
Don't you think it's pretty nice to be talking Browns football at this point of the season?
What's that, Les?
Don't you think it's pretty nice to be able to talk on a decent level with about Browns football at this point in the season? It's something we haven't had in a long, long time.
Oh, there's no question, Les. And on WTAM on my show last night, I was talking about how it's unfortunate that the Browns aren't getting as much attention, in my opinion, as they deserve in this town. And there are many reasons for it, but they're 6-3. They're in the playoff hunt. They're not 3-6. They're not 0-9. And remember, this franchise is not that far removed from 0-16, which followed 1-15, which followed 3-13. So you had a 3-year stretch from 15 to 17 where the Cleveland Browns were 4-44.
Oh.
And now they're 6-3. So we should be rejoicing.
Yeah, and I'll go one step further. There, you look at the schedule. There's not anybody that you out and out just say, oh, they can't compete with them. That's a loss. Now, the Pittsburgh game, depending on what's going on there, that they won't be the favorites in that game unless Roethlisberger sits it out. But it's nice to see that the Browns can compete with anybody right now. And there's nobody in the NFL who can tell you differently.
Yeah, the only team for the Browns at this moment where I would feel like they have little to no chance. Well, the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I have to specify that because I think they can somehow hang with the Steelers in Cleveland. But when they go to Heinz Field, they just completely lose their minds and they have no shot. The other matchup that I think would be a nightmare, and it's not just the Browns that would have this problem, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, I think, could score 50 on the Browns defense if they wanted to. But beyond that, I mean, I don't know that there's a team that the Browns are, shaking in their boots when they're facing.
If you want to get in before the end of the show, you can do that now at 216-575-0403, Northeast Factory Direct. 3 locations, plus the website, northeastfactorydirect.com, West 140th Street near the airport, Lakeside Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive, that's the new one, that's in Macedonia, Northeast Factory Direct. We are powered by cleveland.com. Dennis Manoloff and I return in a moment. Tomorrow night we'll have the other D-man, that's Daryl Ryder. Dangerous Daryl will join us. That'll be tomorrow night right here on More Sports and Less Levine.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone basement floor. Add more livable space, inhibit the growth of mold and mildew, and improve air quality for your family. It's the healthier, more beautiful basement floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your basement floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
This date in sports history, this was in 2006. Number 1 Ohio State defeats Michigan, number 2, 42-39. Bo Schembechler died that weekend of that game. It was the only time the two schools faced each other, ranked number 1 and number 2 in the nation. It was a heck of a game, no question about that. Birthdays for today, November 18th to 2020. Royce Sievers, outfielder for the Washington Senators. Paul Wiggin, former Browns player, turned out to be a pretty good coach. He was a defensive end. Sonny Skies, a weatherman, 1947. Warren Moon, not a weatherman. Gary Sheffield, and Big Papi, David Ortiz. Pretty good day for birthdays. The 18th of November. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. D-Man, we asked our Facebook people what they'd like to see the Cavaliers do in tonight's NBA draft. So here's what we come up with. Josh Woodward says anything but draft another guard. Dennis Quigney says draft Obi Toppin. If the team is going to be horrible, at least have it a likable semi-homegrown talent to root for. Obi Toppin seems like he should be in Thomas the Train cartoons. Chuck, I can't even take a guess, but there ain't no stopping Obi Toppin. And Lee Sutley comes up with a completely irrelevant pick for a completely irrelevant team. So there you have it. Any idea?
Lee, oh my gosh. Well, I've got my crib notes, my NBA draft crib notes.
Okay.
And basically, the way I see it and the way a lot of people see it, there are 6 players that stand out. Edwards, the guard from Georgia. Wiseman, the center from Memphis. LaMelo Ball, the guard from USA. Denny Avdija from Italy, the forward. Obi Toppin from Dayton. And then Onyeka Okongwu, the center from USC. And at least 2 of those guys will be available to the Cavs if the Cavs stay put at 5. We also, as you know, Les, from talking to our good buddy Chris Fedor, he has mentioned the Cavs being locked on Isaac Okoro, the forward from Auburn. So we'll see about that. You're also hearing rumors that the Cavs and Knicks are in talks. The Knicks are trying to move up to get Toppin, and the Cavs are holding out for a bunch of stuff.
The Knicks have a.
Here's the one thing about Toppin too, because he's got the cool name and he's from Dayton and he's got an offensive game and he definitely has people here at least a little bit excited. But one of the knocks, the so-called knocks on him, is he's an older rookie, or he'll be an older rookie, I think, at age 23. The Cavaliers don't need any more 19 or 20-year-old guys. Okay, the older the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they may have to get rid of one. And what do you do with Kevin Porter Jr. after this? What's happened here?
I mean, you got to hope for his sake. Porter's got to hope that he has a really good attorney and they can figure out a way to escape from any potential charges there. And listen, unfortunately, Kevin Porter Jr. has had some things happen to him in the past when he was and not related to this, but in college, there's a reason why he dropped in the draft. Some teams were nervous about him, so I don't know what we're dealing with here with Kevin Porter Jr.
No, and the Cavs don't need that PR problem. Something you can overcome a PR problem if you're really good.
But Les, here's the thing, and I know that maybe I'm being greedy here. I guess I am being greedy. The Cavs got to start winning. I know that you could say rebuilds in the NBA take longer than other sports because super teams are prevalent, but the Cavs have got to start winning. I mean, fast. I mean, they need to. I'm not saying you mortgaged the future, but I'm saying these young guys with a splash of veterans here or there, such as maybe Kevin Love or Drummond, or if they retain Thompson, you got to start winning games.
Yeah, no question about that, and it can be done. It can be done in the East. Not talking about going all the way, but you should be able to put yourself somewhere in the playoff discussion. In the meantime, if you would like to call us when we're not here, we're not on the air, that would be any time other than 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you'd like to call us and leave us a message, you can do that at the voicemail of Truth and Reason. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Voicemail of Truth and Reason when we're not here doing the show from 6 to 7 p.m. It's 216-200-6650. D-Man and I return one more time. I don't know, we may have some quickies, we may not. We'll see what we have for the last segment of the show. More Sports and Les Levine continues, powered by cleveland.com.
Transform your home for the holidays with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. No more tripping on cracked, uneven concrete. Stop slipping on puddles and standing water. It's the safer, more beautiful garage floor that's easy to clean and never needs replaced. That's why it's backed by Russell's Promise. For a limited time, get more Nature Stone than ever before with up to half your garage floor free. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com to qualify for your free flooring. It's not just a floor.
Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Dangerous Daryl Ryder, 92.3 The Fan, joins us tomorrow night. You see us from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and you see that Monday through Thursday. And then Dave Bacon has his show on Friday, Weekend Winners. Dennis Manoloff with us tonight. D-Man, you got some TAM gigs coming up? You were on a roll there for a while.
Tonight, I follow the network coverage of the NBA draft, and I don't know how long we'll be on, but we'll be able to take the temperature of Cavs fans and the interest level. By the way, the season is scheduled to start December 22nd, so it's not that far away.
Yeah.
And then I've got shows Thursday and Friday from 7 to 10.
Good for you. Just let me touch on baseball for a minute. What do you think the San Diego Padres are thinking now about Mike Clevenger?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad news for Clev, but 2-year, $11.5 million contract signed with the Padres. So, he's got money to fall back on, as he recovers. He has that security. So the Padres have shown him some gratitude or a leap of faith there.
Love. Yeah.
It does make you wonder, though, Les. In no way, shape, or form do I believe the Indians sent damaged goods to Clevenger or to the Padres.
No, even if they did, their doctors would have checked him out.
Well, right, and not only do I don't think they. In fact, I know they wouldn't do that, but they did think that perhaps Clevenger's violent delivery and his unorthodox release could bode poorly or could lead to something. I don't know that you could possibly have thought, okay, right away he's going to have Tommy John, but that's a violent delivery. It's not a smooth mechanical delivery, and you look at that and you go, hey, maybe that's an injury waiting.
Yeah, but I don't blame that on the Indians. If the Padres are going to go through with a deal like that, they've got to know. If you and I non-baseball people, if we know that that's a violent delivery, it could lead to injury somewhere down the road, somewhere quickly down the road, we would suggest not going with that deal. I wouldn't blame the Indians on that.
No, I'm not, and I'm not. And the Padres saw the Mike Clevenger's mechanics, and they felt comfortable enough to acquire
Right.
him. And here's the other thing: pitching in general is an unnatural act. You're asking your body and your arm to do things that aren't natural.
Sure.
So even guys with the smoothest mechanics in the world come down with arm injuries.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, they're doing it on high school kids before they even get to college or the minors. So there must be some reason. All right, that'll do it for us. Great job by the D-Man. Have a good show tonight. We'll see you next week. Dennis Manoloff,
Thank you,
WTAM. All right, that'll do it for us. I'll see you tomorrow night with Dangerous Daryl Ryder. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.